Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and I'm very excited because we're talking about the second release from the infamous indie rock band Pavement from 1994. It's called Crooked Rain, Crooked Rain. And so the lead singer and songwriter for this band, Stephen Malkmus, he has one of the most iconic indie rock voices of all time. I mean, the sound of Pavement is basically the sound of indie rock as a genre. You know, so they're very, very iconic and well respected. But anyway, so I'm very excited to talk about it with you guys. I hope you like it. I hope you find it interesting. I've got some clips lined up as always. So let's jump right into track number 1, which is called Silence Kid. Yeah, this is an iconic Pavement song, and it's a really cool way to start the album. It's just a really different sound. And I like this song a lot lyrically because it kind of like speaks to me personally as a kind of shy, kind of anxious kid. You know, he's talking about a guy who's moved to the city and he doesn't really have a lot of friends, probably no friends as a matter of fact. And, you know, he's kind of living the dream in the sense that he wants to be an artist, probably, is what it sounds like. But the thing is, he's kind of losing faith a little bit in people, you know. And Stephen says, you know, don't lose your graceful tone, silent kid. So this guy is a really nice guy, it sounds like. You know, he means well. But as I said, he's very shy. He's not very sociable. So he's in the city for a while, and he's kind of losing interest in it. He's kind of losing faith in it a little bit. So this poor guy, we don't know his name, but he's struggling a little bit, you know. But that's Silence Kid. That's all I want to say about it. So let's move on to track number 2, which is another iconic Pavement song and indie rock song in general. It's called Elevate Me Later.
Sleep with electric guitars, Range Roving with the cinema stars, and I wouldn't want to shake their hands, 'cause they're in such a high protein plan, because there's 40 different shades of black, so many fortresses and ways to attack, so why you complain and talk?
Yeah, oh my goodness, this song is so catchy. It's just so memorable. And, you know, I imagine that it's the same character from Silence Kid, who's probably a musician, right? It might even be about Stephen. And it sounds like he doesn't think very highly of the upper class, of the wealthy, of the famous, right? He kind of enjoys being within like a certain stratosphere of wealth and notoriety. So it sounds like he's not particularly interested in being famous, even though he wants to succeed with his band. You know, because he says, elevate me later, which implies that he wants to be famous, but he doesn't want to be like up here with all the people he despises until it's absolutely necessary, right? So It's a little unfair of Steven, I'm going to say, to just pigeonhole these people as being a certain type of person, right? Because it sounds like he doesn't like them at all. So maybe he had a bad experience or something. We don't know. But anyway, I love this song. It's probably my favorite on this album. But that's all I want to say about it. So let's move on to track 3, which is called Stop Breathing.
Got struck by the first volley of the war in the court. Never held my soul. Send him a wire, give him my best. This ammunition never rests. No one serves coffee, no one wakes up.
So this is an interesting song because he's switching topics pretty heavily here, right? He goes from being an artist, trying to deal with city life and trying to deal with people who can help his career, to talking about, I guess, a soldier in war, right? So maybe, I didn't look this up, but maybe Steven is a veteran, or maybe he's speaking about somebody he knows. Or just in general, we're not really sure what's going on exactly. But he's speaking about a guy who's in the trenches, right? And he's just relaying his experience and how horrible it is, So it's kind of a strange topic, I'm going to admit, for this album. I'm not sure why he decided to put this song on in particular. But it's an interesting song, sonically speaking. I like it quite a bit. It's just kind of an oddball song. So that's all I wanted to say about it, really. So let's move on to track 4, which I believe was the single. It's called Cut Your Hair. It's another excellent song. It's a classic indie rock song. So let's check it out. Stop it.
Go and cut your hair. Do you think it's gonna make him change? I'm just a boy with a new haircut, and that's a pretty nice haircut. Charge you like a puzzle, hitmen wearing muzzles. Hesitate to die, look around, the second drummer drowned. This telephone is found.
Yeah, this song is just so catchy. I love it. It's just such a classic indie rock song. And, I like it lyrically because it sounds like he's speaking about the struggle you've got to go through to get ahead, in the sense that, he touched upon that earlier, but now he's saying, you got to cut your hair to get someone to like you, which is kind of a metaphor for, you got to do what it takes to try and get the response that you want. So it sounds like our guy doesn't really know exactly what he's supposed to do, but he's making changes as he goes through his, his life, trying to figure out what exactly do I need to do to succeed here, So he says, darling, don't you go and cut your hair. Do you think it's going to make him change? So that's just a great way of saying basically that you've got to test things out here and there to see what works and what doesn't work. And, because Steven doesn't really come from a certain background where it's easy to succeed and where he has a lot of help, he's got to figure it out on his own, right? So he's trying to figure it out, is what it sounds like. I like this song quite a bit. Probably my second favorite song on the album. But that's all I want to say about it. So let's move on to track number 5, which is called Newark Wilder.
Lame driver, the forces against you, the rain. I know everybody wants to put you down, but I know everybody's gonna put me down. Won't you? Because I rush to feel you, but I won't set you down. I don't need to. Because I rush to feel you, but I won't set you down. I don't need to.
Yeah, so this song pretty much sums up what's going on in his head for me. It sounds like he looks at the city of Newark not as a kind of grimy, dirty, underclass type of place, but he likes it. He likes the people there. He probably feels that they're a lot more real than in other places, you know, like Los Angeles or something. So I like how he says, I know everyone wants to put you down, but I want you. So it sounds like he really admires the working class people, right? He thinks of them as honest, as sincere, as hardworking, and admirable, really. That's the impression I get from this song. You know, so even though Newark maybe at the time was like not the greatest place to live, you know, maybe had a lot of crime or whatever, you know, he respects the people there. They're living a hard life. They have a lot of dignity. They're providing for their families. They just happen to be, you know, they just happen to not be super successful. And what's wrong with that? So I like this song, but that's all I want to say about it. So let's move on to track 6, which is called Unfair. Yeah, again, this is just more hatred of successful and wealthy people on Steven's part. You know, it sounds like he had to move to Los Angeles with his band to actually have a chance to make it, right? And, you know, this is their second album, and I believe their first album was really successful as well. And it's also a great album, by the way. Check it out. It's called Slanted and Enchanted. So I imagine by this time, 2 years later, he might have had a lot of cred. He might have been famous a little bit. But I guess he's speaking about his journey with his band in the past, how they had to move out to Los Angeles, you know, to get the attention of certain people. Because, of course, this is, you know, pre-internet days. So you got to do stuff locally. But it just sounds like he just doesn't like all these LA people. He probably thinks they're fake, insincere, you know, out to get him, out to exploit him, you know, all these things. All the things that he likes about the people from Newark, he doesn't like about the people from LA, is basically what he's saying. And I've lived there. I've lived in LA, so I kind of know what he's getting at to some degree. But anyway, so that's Unfair, which is a great name for the song because it is, you know, it's speaking about all the unfairness involved. But anyway, so that's Unfair. So let's move on to track number 7, which is called Gold Soundz.
So drunk in the August sun, and you're the kind of girl I like because you're empty and I'm empty.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tunes from this album for sure. I love the sound of it. And it's kind of humorous. I like it because he's basically speaking about like right before he moves to Los Angeles, he wants intimacy, right? And he's got kind of a crush on this girl who, well, by crush I mean like he wants to sleep with her. But, he says he's empty and he says she's empty, which is the perfect situation, right? Because they're just going to use each other until December when he moves to Los Angeles. So it's just kind of like a humorous song, about he wants to just have some fun before he changes his whole life, essentially, right? So that's gold Soundz. It's not the deepest song in the world, but I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun. So let's move on to track 8, which is called 5 minus 4 equals unity. Yeah, I just thought that was a really cool song. I mean, it's an instrumental, it's like 2 minutes and 10 seconds of that. But I just thought it was a really different sound from the rest of the album. And I like how they experimented a little bit. They went for some diversity. And it's just a great song, It's just a really cool sound in general. I like it a lot. But that's track 8. So let's move on to another favorite of mine. I have many favorites on this album, as you've probably noticed. So it's called Range Life. Let's check it out.
After the glow, the scene, the stage, the set, and talk becomes slow, but there's one thing I'll never forget. Hey, you gotta pay your dues before you pay the rent. Over the turnstiles and out in the traffic, there's ways to live, and it's the way I'm living. Right or wrong, it's all that I can do, and I wouldn't wanna let you be. I want a range life. If I could settle down, if I could settle down, then I would settle down. I want a range life. If I could settle down, if I could settle down, then I would settle down.
Yeah, I just love this song. And there's a few parts of the lyrics that really stand out to me, right? Because he says, you got to pay your dues before you pay the rent, which is exactly what he's been talking about this whole album. He's got to do certain things, and he's probably got to do a lot of things he doesn't really want to do, but he's got to do it to succeed and make money, right? He's got to pay his dues. But deep within his soul, as he says, he just wants a range life. He wants to be able to make enough money so that he can settle down on the range in the country, like he says, and just enjoy nature and life, right? So it sounds like this guy, he just wants a quiet little life, lonely little life probably, because we've mentioned on track 1 that he's kind of shy, he's a little anxious, You know, he's not very sociable, but he does have the dreams. He has ambition. You know, so he knows he wants to be a musician and he wants to be successful at it. So he's got to do certain things. But as soon as he's made his money, it sounds like he's just going to quit everything immediately. You know, he doesn't want to be someone who's like constantly in the spotlight, is what it sounds like. So I can admire that. He knows what he wants in life. You know, I dig it, Steven. But anyway, so that's Range Life. So let's move on to, I believe I skipped to, track 11, because Heaven is the Truck, which is 10, didn't stand out to me enough. I didn't want to talk about it really. So let's move on to track 11, which is called Hit the Plane Down. So this song is actually completely at odds with everything else he's been saying, in my opinion, because he's, you know, metaphorically speaking, as he says, he's on top of this hill and he's staring down at the toys that he's playing with, is what he says, and he's liking it. He's enjoying this. You know, he says he's got you up his sleeve. So it sounds like maybe he's finally gotten a taste of fame and the power that comes with being a kind of celebrity. And it's getting to him, is what it sounds like. It sounds like he's enjoying his ability to get what he wants, to kind of like use people, you know, in the way that certain celebrities might, you know, because when you're a celebrity, you can get away with doing a lot of stuff because people want to make you happy, right? So it sounds like initially this guy just wanted something very simple. He just wanted to make enough money to live on the range. But now that he's had a taste for that power, you know, for the power of being famous, he's kind of turned to the dark side a little bit. So the name of the song kind of ties into that, right? Because it's called Hit the Plane Down. So it sounds like he's flying high on this plane, and and the plane's about to get hit by something, so he's about to get shot back down to reality, is what I think when I hear the name of the song, right? He's riding on this plane, and he's about to come back down to earth very suddenly, you know. But anyway, really cool song. I like it a lot. But that's all I want to say about it. So let's move on to my last clip from the final track, which is called Fillmore Jive.
I need to sleep. Why don't you let me? I need to sleep. Why don't you? Let me
Yeah, so it's literally just him saying, I can't sleep, why won't you let me? You know, so, but I identify with this song quite a bit because when you get really jazzed up, you know, it's really hard to fall asleep. You're just having racing thoughts all the time. And it sounds like he's probably playing a lot of gigs. He's probably jazzed up from being, you know, kind of recognizable, kind of famous, right? He can't just be anonymous anymore. Because remember on track 1, he was the silent kid in the city with like no friends, you know, no one to bother him. But now that he's kind of famous and he's playing a lot of shows to make a lot of money, he just can't like calm down. He can't be alone. He can't be unbothered. He can't calm down. He can't fall asleep. So it sounds like he's just having a really rough time of it, honestly. You know, that's how I interpret this song. It's a pretty long song, but I like this particular moment on it because I can totally identify with it, right? Like when I'm working on videos, I'm always trying to think of ways that I could improve it, or I'm thinking of things that I did wrong or whatever it is. So, you know, but anyway, so that's the album. That's Crooked Rain, Crooked Rain. You know, I hope you found it interesting at the very least. But as always, feel free to comment with your thoughts and opinions. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Whatever you have to say, I'll check it out. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out. I've got a lot of these planned and I'm excited. But yeah, that's Pavement. Check them out and have a good one.